Okay, hopefully the audio does not screw up this time. I don't know what happened to my original recording, but apparently my microphone did not like it because it was making some crazy sounds over my audio. So anyway, welcome back to Realm 3516. Today's video will be a long one, or I don't know if it would be a long one necessarily, but it's going to be packed full of information. And so it's going to be a lot of talking and whatnot. So if you can, please watch this video until the end because it does answer quite a few of your questions. If you cannot listen to the whole video, there will be a summary down in the description box of this video. So before I get too far into this, I first would like to thank all of the community members who have been contributing such fantastic content, especially over the past year, because oh my gosh, I haven't seen this much content in the community, I don't think ever. Not even back in the day, back on the forums, like please, whoever's texting me, please just leave me alone. Okay, anyway, like I've never seen this much content at all in the community, and so I want to thank all of you content creators out there for doing such a thing, because man, back when I came back to this community in 2013, there was no community. There was like 5 people, maybe that's it. That's all we had, and like hardly any posts at all on the forums, nothing. There was nothing. And so here in 2018 to have such a wide array of content is just amazing. So thank you so much for doing that. So what is the Edge Project? I'm sure most of you have heard of the Edge Project at some point, but despite this, most of you don't really know of it. And that's just because it's been around for so long that just its origins have sort of been forgotten. So, you know, I'm going to take this time to kind of remind everyone where it came from and like how it is doing today, I guess. So the project started in late 2013. However, it originally was just a regular fan fiction. It was just meant to like boost activity on the original forums. It was not created to be a project. It was just literally a fan fiction that I decided to make to try to do my part in reviving the community as best I could. And it was so well received that it became a project. You know, it became the Edge Project that you know today. And it's amazing now that I look back and see that it just was a fan fiction, and now it's pretty well known. Some would say it's infamous at this point, but you know, it's just crazy regardless that it is so well known in the community. So the original end goal was to get a 5th movie made for AcceleRacers. The story written for The Edge answers many of the questions left by the previous movies. These questions range from what happened to Varl's mom, to who are the silencers, and everything in between. That is the origin of The Edge, and the general concept of the story. In 2018, while the general idea has not changed, the project direction has. For now. While the movie is ideal, focus has been put towards a comic. The comic will have everything I envisioned for the movie, and no content will be lost. I know there are concerns with me doing a comic instead of a movie, but I really need you guys to just hear me out. I mean, I haven't even released the first issue yet, and I have people already damning the comic, which isn't good, because if it actually turns out to be something good, and quite a few people like the comic, because of its bad press from fans who haven't even seen the first issue yet, at this stage, you know, it can hinder its progress a little bit later when actual issues are released. So I just really want people to be as patient as possible, but I know I can't please everyone, so, you know, it is what it is. You know, people are still going to be upset regardless. But like I said, this comic will have everything I envisioned for the movie, no content will be lost, and it actually will probably have more content within it because it's not going to be limited by a studio or by time constraints or anything like that. So I can go more in depth. I can include things that may be a little bit dark or something, darker than a studio would want to go. So in one way, it might be better than the actual movie would have turned out. So, you know, just sort of give it a chance, wait and see how the first issue does, and if it's not your cup of tea, then you're not being forced to read the damn thing. So, you know, that's all I have to say about that. So now I'll get into frequently asked questions. So these are questions that I've been asked over the past couple of years at least. So the first question is, will the comic be free? Yes, the comic will be free and will be hosted on my own site. I am not looking to make any kind of profit. I am not looking to make ends meet with this. It is purely something that I'm volunteering to you guys in the community. And so yeah, it's just going to be free. The second question is, what languages will it be in? It will be in English at first, and then of course, if anyone would like to translate it into any other language, go for it, you know. I would like it to be in, like, the more well-known languages, like Spanish, Portuguese, French, German, stuff like that, you know. I would love to see it translated one day in those languages, so it's readily available to anyone in the community. So question number 3 is it just one issue? Nope. It'll have several issues. At first I was thinking of just doing a one-off, but then I was just like, you know what? It could actually be stretched into several issues. 4. How long will each issue be? Roughly around 15 or 20 pages. Obviously, give or take depending on which point of the story it's covering. So the first issue may actually run over 15 to 20 pages, as will the last issue. So just keep that in mind. I don't think people will be mad for extra, like, if there's extra pages in there, but you know, just want to cover all my bases just in case. And number 5, where can I contact you? That information will be at the description box below this video. There is a wide array of places where you can contact me, but I will actually just only link the main ones, so you're not contacting me on a site that I only check like once a month or something. So yeah, that'll be in the description box as well. So now we'll get into the fun part of this video, which I actually need to find where I put those questions. There they are. And I'll be reading questions and answering questions that you guys have specifically asked in the past 24 hours, so that should be fun. So the first question is by Matthew. How did Vert's mom really die? Because it's kind of vague. Well, I can't really answer that because it is one of the points in the comic, and so I'm gonna have to be kind of vague. It is somewhat tied into the plot. However, it is not a main plot point. Oh god, how do I answer it without ruining it? She was met with an untimely death. How about I phrase it that way? That's probably just as vague as the movies. Oh god. So the next question is by Chris. Now let me see if I can pull up his question here. Do you think any other Highway 35 characters besides Banji, Dan, and Alec went into the realms? Honestly, aside from Esmeralda, no, because most of the other characters were just there for the money, and you can kind of tell because most of them weren't taking as many risks as the other main drivers. And I don't know if that was because of just how it was written to just focus on those main drivers, or if it was just to let you know who is actually a die-hard racer and enjoys the thrill more than the little bit of money at the end of the race. So, other than Esmeralda, no other Highway 35 characters were in that little time gap between World Race and AcceleRacers. The next question is by Ryan. And he asks, who are the Silencers and what were their plans? So, this is also a big major plot point of The Edge. However, this is something that I can kind of disclose to you guys because it's kind of obvious. So, the Silencers are a division in the US government. They specialize in sort of otherworldly things, clearly. Their plan, however, I'm not going to really get into because that kind of drives some of the story a little bit, so I don't think I'm going to answer that one quite yet. Maybe in a video like a month down the line I'll answer those questions more in depth. But for now, I'm going to keep it vague. The next question is by Devin. Did Tesla steal the technology from the Silencers, or did the Silencers steal technology from Tesla? Also, why didn't Tesla give the Teku and Metal Maniac some of the advanced technology? So, again, this is kind of something that has to do with the plot of the story, so I'm going to try to answer it as open as possible so then like you can kind of ponder it. So it's a little bit of column A and column B. Tesla had technology stolen from him, and the Silencers had technology stolen from them. But for the most part, it was the other way around. It was mostly his technology being stolen and used against his will by the Silencers, and they built upon pretty much the framework that he left behind. He didn't give the Teku and Metal Maniacs any of the advanced technology because they didn't really need it. Plus, you know, with him defecting from the Silencers, he did not have any of the funds that he had before, where he could include some of, you know, the more high-tech technologies. So, one, the drivers didn't really need those technologies, and two, it was just going to cost way too much to include that into all of their vehicles. Like, there's some just real-world logic applied to that. So, yeah, it was just not necessary, and it would have just been, like, kind of a waste of money that he didn't have, so, yeah. This next question is by Reiner. I hope I said your name right. If I didn't, you can correct me down below, because I'm stupid. How could Vert come into the Silencers' headquarters? I mean, he just had that one new part. So, the new piece for the wheel. So, the whole reason why he could go into the Silencers' headquarters was because they were the only ones that had a wheel of power, I believe, in general, and if I'm mistaken there, they were the only ones that had an operating wheel of power on Earth. So since he is from Earth and had like a car that was wired to come back through the correct portal back at the Silencers, like, not the Silencers, but back at the Accelerome, with the Accelerome destroyed along with the wheel, the only way he could come out is in the Silencer's base. So, yeah. He had no other choice, really. The next question is by Thomas. Let's see if I can find that. Where'd it go? There it is. Will there be a time gap between the last movie and where The Edge picks up? If so, Are there any possible costume changes for the cast of characters? Yes, there is a small time gap. It's about 6 to 12 months after the events of the Ultimate Race. There is slight costume changes just to fit with the 2016, or I don't know why I have 2016 on my mind today. We're in the year 2018, by the way, just to remind anyone that's just as dumb as I am. I'm gonna change the style to fit with more modern times, because, you know, the style back then was very reflective of 2005. So, yes, there are costume changes, but they're minor ones, and it's just to make them a little bit more time appropriate for our audience. The last question is by Frederico. Again, correct me down in the comments below if I pronounced your name wrong, because, again, I'm kind of dumb when it comes to names. So, what do you think of the character design changes from the more sober and kind of realistic on Highway 35 to the crazy big-footed design of the characters in AcceleRacers? And what line will the Edge follow? That is a very good question. So, I kind of like both designs, to be honest. I kind of like the realistic proportions of World Race, and I also kind of like the highly stylized versions of those characters in AcceleRacers, just because it's a little bit unique and you can actually go, ah yes, that's AcceleRacers right there. But, you know, it's really hard for me to pick which one's my favorite, so I can't really pick. So because of that, the Edge will kind of be a little bit of both. I don't want to lose the iconic AcceleRacers look completely, but I also don't want to go over the top so they look like they're made out of Play-Doh or something. Like, I'm not doing that. But at the same time, it's also kind of in my own style. So while it's going to be a blend of the two styles, it's also heavily my own style. So it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of both styles, but also not at the same time, if that makes any sense. If it doesn't, I can probably elaborate down in the comments. But yeah, it's definitely going to be a mixture of both. So yeah, those are the questions that stood out to me and had the most likes on the Facebook page. So if you want your questions answered in another video, I will be happy to do that in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and I'll see you next time.